What advice would you give a first-year student going into engineering?
Okay, my number one advice to anyone being a first-year student in engineering is get as much help as you can as soon as possible, as soon as you know you need the help.
Yes.
There's nothing wrong with asking for help, making your professors know who you are. That's how you're going to succeed in classes, and that's how you're going to build your network that's really going to support you through the 4 years. I would also say get involved from day one. Go to the involvement fair, sign up for as many things as you think sound interesting, and start narrowing it down until you find the community that you're kind of looking for and that you really see yourself sticking through. And it's okay to change and be like, oh, I did this for a year, but I don't think I'm interested anymore. Clubs are always open to new members, and there's always new people to find and to meet and to find a community.
Yeah, I would say be proactive. So it's really easy to go with the flow, and you're in a class and no one's talking, and no one's even talking to the person next to them and introducing themselves. But don't be afraid to be the first person to ask a question, the first person to introduce yourself. The first person to say, hey, do you want to meet up after class and figure out this homework together? Because that can turn into a lifelong friendship. It really can. And especially, like, I know freshman year it can be really daunting to just kind of have these professors that in high school it was smaller class sizes and you got to know them like every day, and so it was a different environment. But don't be afraid of your professors. They are your biggest allies and they're rooting for you. And so be friendly to them, treat them like humans too. I think sometimes students can just like get in student mode and they like barely have their eyes open, and it's like really kind of a toxic environment for a classroom. So don't be afraid to be engaged and ask questions and really bring your A game to class. Can engineering students study abroad?
Yes, engineering students can study abroad. There's a pretty big push, I feel, in the college to make sure that you can study abroad and still graduate on time, and you don't always necessarily have to do a specific engineering program to study abroad. Both of us were able to travel to Rwanda last summer, not for credits or anything, but just to build a bridge.
Yeah, it totally got everything I wanted in a study abroad experience, just in an alternative form. So we traveled for a month over the summer and with a club called Bridges to Prosperity, and we designed and constructed a pedestrian bridge in a developing country. So that was super engineering specific, and also travel and getting to see the world, but it wasn't a like formal study abroad experience. I do have a close friend, Steph, who traveled to London for all of last semester for a study abroad program, and she absolutely loved it. She got to take cool Penn State pictures in like every European city you could even imagine. So it can be done.
Yeah. And if you're nervous about missing a whole semester on campus, you can study abroad for a few weeks in the summer or take a Maymester class. So there's definitely opportunities to travel if you're willing to find them.
Yeah, that's the nice thing about Penn State. There are like so many campuses, so even if you're not townie or from State College, you can, if you're from PA, or you can even do World Campus online, like there's always ways to catch up and fit it in. So,
is help available to get internships?
Yeah, definitely. I think so. Within at least the civil engineering college, we have a civil career fair. So it's just civil engineering firms and some architectural engineering firms and like kind of spin-off related fields. And it's just like 60 or plus companies, and they're there just for you, and they want interns and they want Penn Staters. And so I've been going since my freshman year, and freshman year I didn't get an internship offer, but it was more just kind of understanding what it was like and kind of building some self-confidence, and everyone there is so friendly and they want to give you a job, so that's been awesome.
I would say there's also a lot of resources with the Women in Engineering program to network
definitely.
with other women upperclassmen who've been through the same experiences as you to get help with resumes or cover letters or just how to interview best. There's help at the Career Services building, but definitely building your network and just talking to other people who have been through it before is the best way to get that kind of help to find an internship.
Yeah, do not be afraid to ask anyone for help, because you never know. Like even a professor that has some connection, that's exactly what you're looking for, and that can make all the difference.
What organizations are you involved in?
So I'm involved in 2 main ones and a few other organizations kind of on the side, but my primary groups are Bridges to Prosperity, which is a service organization in the engineering department that builds pedestrian bridges in rurally isolated communities around the world, and that's awesome. And then I'm also involved in Alliance Christian Fellowship, which is a church here on campus. So we have a pastor, but then the rest of the church staff is college students, and we meet in the hub on Sunday mornings, and it's been a really awesome community for me and just a place where I can develop my faith. So yeah, that's been great too.
I'm also involved in Bridges to Prosperity, which has been the best thing about being at Penn State so far. I'm also involved in a campus ministry group called the Navigators, and I'm also involved in U-Tree, which is undergraduate teaching research experiences in engineering.
What does that mean?
So they provide different services to classes, such as, they've probably come and talked to your e-design class before about different presentation styles and writing styles and kind of developing your professional skills, and yeah.
That's really cool.
Yeah. Did you worry that engineering might be too hard?
Yeah, definitely. It's really hard. But like we said before with our advice, like, engineering is only hard if you try to do it by yourself. You can't, maybe like a wonderkind can, but there was no way I could have passed those first few classes just on my own. And so really, like, we're all in this together, and so ask for help, go to office hours, like, start working hard early on. I think if you lose sight in the first like month and a half, if you start falling behind, that's when things get really difficult and it's hard to catch up. So if you're kind of on it day one and you do your best, even like there's room for failure. I think that's like a big taboo thing, because in high school, like, you know, if you tried, you did well. In college, sometimes you try and you fail, and that's a really good life lesson, and you can try again. And so don't lose heart. If it's really not working, like, take note of that too. But usually, like, I have all of my friends have failed a class, you know, and it'll be okay. And I think also just keep in mind that the first few classes, like freshman and sophomore year especially, are the hardest. And then junior and senior year, they get more technical and they push you more, but it's not as academically challenging as far as, like, the tests get less complicated and hard. I don't know, you just feel so, and everything's more interesting because it's like really honed into what you're interested about. So yeah, keep with it.
I was definitely worried that engineering was going to be too hard, but I didn't transfer in any of my AP credits, so the first semester I was kind of taking classes that I had already seen in high school, which I think really helped me transition into college well. But there's also benefits to getting ahead early on if you're passionate about other things and getting a minor too. But I would say definitely finding a community to study with, seeing people in your classes. Some of your best friends can be made just from saying, hey, want to meet up later and study, and then all of a sudden you're instant friends. And so I think it's really important to find people to study with, go to office hours, go to the WEP facilitated study groups, which are led by older women who have already taken the class, passed the class, and done well in the class. And so definitely making sure to keep yourself accountable and go to those study sessions every week and be really on top of your studies, and it's not too bad.
Yeah, for me, I think, I don't know, just being a girl, like, I'm an external processor, and so if a problem, like a homework assignment, or I'm studying for a test and it just doesn't make sense, sometimes I'll even ask, like, my roommate, who's not in engineering, she's in pre-med, but I'll just be like, can I say this problem out loud and just tell you what I'm thinking? And then by talking, I figure it out myself. And so really, like, get that community. It's so, so, so important, I think, especially as women, so.